Hello dear students, welcome to another episode of Financial Management, that is Capital Budgeting Decisions. In this episode we will discuss about meaning of capital budgeting, methods for evaluating projects, comparison of net present value and internal rate of return methods. I am Dr. Arshia Hussain, PhD in Human Resource Management and teaching in the Department of Commerce and Business Studies, Jamia Millia Islamia University, New Delhi. Before starting our discussion, I have my students with me. She is Aditi and she is Unesa. Now, we will start our discussion with the meaning of the capital budgeting. Capital budgeting is a long-term financial decision which involves investment in long-term assets. It relates to the selection of assets whose benefits will be derived for a longer period of time. In other words, the capital budgeting decision involves the entire process of decision making relating to acquisition of long-term assets whose returns are expected to arise over a long period of time. Purchase of plant, land, buildings or development of a product or to diversify into a new product line and so on are some examples of capital budgeting. Capital budgeting decision is a complex process involving 3 steps. The first one is the cost and benefits are to be estimated. Secondly, required rate of return is estimated. Thirdly, different proposals are evaluated in order to select one. Next is types of capital budgeting decisions.
Ma'am, excuse me.
Yes.
Ma'am, I have a confusion.
Yes.
Does capital budgeting include only long-term assets, not short-term assets?
Capital budgeting decision includes only long-term assets. For investment in the short-term assets, your working capital management is the concept that is used. Because in organization, the funds are allocated, are invested in 2 types of assets. One is long-term assets and short-term assets. Investment in long-term assets are solely known as capital budgeting decision. So, whenever we are talking about capital budgeting, it means investment in long-term assets. And when we are talking about the working capital management, that means investment in the short-term assets. So, capital budgeting decision includes only investment in long-term assets. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, we will start with the types of the capital budgeting decisions. There are different types of capital budgeting decisions undertaken by a firm from time to time. These decisions are classified as follows. The first one is mutually exclusive decisions. Now, what are mutually exclusive decisions? 2 or more alternative proposals are said to be mutually exclusive when acceptance of one alternative results in automatic rejection of all other proposals. For instance, selection of one location out of different feasible location is a mutually exclusive decision. The second one is accept, reject decisions. It is a decision to accept or reject when a proposal is independently accepted or rejected without regard to any other alternative proposal.
Ma'am,
In
excuse
general,
me. Ma'am,
Yes.
what is the most important factor which we should consider while taking the investment proposal?
See, the most important factor is the return factor, the cost factor, and the risk factor. All these three factors are taken together before investment into any proposal. Because whenever we are investing into any project or proposal, we need to see how much of the cost is involved in investment, number one. Number two is what kind of returns will the project give to you. Number three is, will it be feasible to invest in terms of the returns and the consistency of returns. So, basically your risk factor, your consistency factor and your cost factor, all these three factors are considered to be the most important. There is no one single factor. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, we will continue the discussion. In general, all those proposals which yield a rate of return greater than a certain required rate of return or cost of capital are accepted and the rest are rejected. Methods of evaluating capital budgeting. There are different techniques of evaluating capital budgeting. These techniques are grouped into certain categories. The first category is traditional techniques, also known as non-discounting technique. And the second one is your time adjusted techniques, which is known as discounted cash flow techniques. The first technique is traditional or non-discounting techniques. Now, we will discuss what are traditional or non-discounting techniques. Traditional techniques do not discount the cash flows to find out their present worth. The following are the traditional techniques. First one, accounting rate of return. The second one is payback period. Now, what is accounting rate of return? Accounting rate of return, also known as ARR, which is based on the accounting concept of return on investment. It may be defined as the annualized net income earned on the average funds invested in a project. The accounting rate of return is also called the average rate of return. It can be calculated with the help of the following formula. Where average profit is equal to average cash flow minus depreciation, average investment is equal to 1/2 into initial cost plus installation expenses minus salvage value plus salvage value. Now, we will see what is the decision rule under the ARR. The ARR calculated is compared with the pre-specified rate of return. If the ARR is more than the pre-specified rate of return, then the project is likely to be accepted, otherwise rejected. Advantages of accounting rate of return. The advantages of accounting rate of return are: first one, it is simple to calculate. Second, the method takes into account the earnings and not the cash flows. The third one, it considers benefits over the entire life of the project. It can be used even with limited data. Now, we will see what are the disadvantages of accounting rate of return. The limitations of accounting rate of return are: first of all, it is based upon accounting profit rather than the cash flows. Second one, it ignores the time value of money and it considers the profit earned in the first year as equal to the profits earned in the later years. The next limitation is the ARR also ignores the life of the proposal. It also ignores the salvage value of the proposal. Next technique we will discuss is payback period. The payback period is the length of the time required to recover the initial cash cost of the project. At payback period, the cash inflows from a project will be equal to the project's cash outflows. In other words, this method specifies the recovery time by accumulation of the cash inflows, that is inclusive of depreciation, year by year until the cash inflows equal to the amount of the original investment. The length of time taken in this process is known as the payback period for the project. Now we'll discuss the advantages of payback period. The payback period advantages are: first one, it is simple to apply and understand. It does not use tedious calculations and has few hidden assumptions. It gives an indication of liquidity. It emphasizes upon earlier cash inflows. The payback period deals with risk also. The project with a shorter payback period will be less risky as compared to a project with a longer payback period.
Ma'am, I have a question regarding this point. Is it necessary to calculate the payback period for all the projects?
Yes, for most of the projects, payback is calculated, and because payback is under how much time you will get back your returns. So that's a payback. Payback is, when you start getting your returns back. So it is advisable to calculate for all the projects, because the company knows that after how many years they will start getting returns. So it is advisable to calculate for all the projects, okay. But it is not compulsory. It is advisable, but it is not compulsory. Clear? Okay. Now we'll see disadvantages of payback. The limitations of the payback period we'll discuss. The first one is it fails to consider the time value of money. Second, it ignores cash flows beyond the payback period, and this can be seen more as a measure of liquidity than of profitability. It is a measure of project's capital recovery and not profitability. Payback method makes no attempt to measure a percentage return on the capital invested and is often used in combination with other methods.
Ma'am, I have a question. Does the payback period takes into account the time value of money?
No, it does not take into account the time value of money, and that is the limitation of the payback method, because that's the basic limitation, and because of which the other methods will take into consideration, because payback period is a technique of the non-discounting technique. So that's the major limitation of the payback period. Now we'll discuss the computation of the payback period, how payback period is calculated. The payback period can be calculated in two ways. First one, when annual cash inflows are equal. Under this, when the cash inflows are in the form of an annuity, the payback period can be computed by dividing the cash outflow by the amount of annuity. Thus, payback period is equal to initial outflow divided by annual inflows. The second one is when the annual cash inflows are unequal. When cash inflows from the proposal are not in annuity form, then the cumulative cash inflows are used to compute the payback period. Decision rule for the payback period. The payback period calculated for a project is to be compared with some predetermined target period. If the payback period is more than the target period, then the proposal should be rejected. If it is less than the target period, then the proposal should be accepted. The payback can be used as a ranking method. The project having the shortest payback may be assigned rank 1, followed in that order, so that the project with the longest payback would be ranked last and the project with the shorter payback period will be selected. The next type of the techniques is the discounted cash flow techniques, or also known as time adjusted techniques. Now, the discounted cash flow or time adjusted technique of capital budgeting takes into consideration the time value of money while evaluating the cost and benefits of the project. The following discounted cash flow techniques are used to evaluate capital budgeting proposals. The first one is net present value, which is known as NPV. The second one is internal rate of return, known as IRR. And the last one is profitability index, that is PI. Now we'll discuss one by one what these are. The first one is net present value. The net present value, that is NPV, of a project is the sum of the present values of all the cash flows, positives as well as negative, that are expected to occur over the life of the project. NPV is obtained by discounting all cash outflows and inflows attributable to a investment project by a certain chosen percentage. The formula for calculating NPV is where CT is equal to cash flow at the end of the year T, N is equal to life of the project, K is equal to discount rate. Now, what is the decision rule for the NPV? The decision under the NPV method is to accept the proposal if NPV is positive. If NPV is negative, then reject the proposal. And if NPV is 0, then the firm may be indifferent between acceptance and rejection of the proposal. Now, we will see the advantages of net present value. The first advantage is NPV takes into account the time value of money. Second one, it considers the entire cash flow stream. Next is, it represents the contribution to the wealth of the shareholder. Next advantage is NPV provides a clear acceptance criterion. The method makes interpretation easy. Now, what are the disadvantages of net present value? The first limitation of NPV is it is difficult to calculate and understand. The second one is the method may not provide satisfactory answers when project involves different amount of investment. Next limitation is NPV requires the predetermination of the required rate of return, that is K, which itself is a difficult exercise. If the value of K is not taken correctly, then the whole exercise of NPV may give wrong results. NPV is expressed in absolute rather than relative terms and hence does not factor in the scale of investment. The next limitation is NPV rule does not consider the life of the project. Hence, when mutually exclusive projects with different lives are being considered, the NPV rule is biased in favor of the longer project. Next, we will see is internal rate of return. The internal rate of return, known as IRR, is the discount rate which equates the present value of future cash flows with the initial investment. It is the value of R in the following equation. Where CT is equal to cash flow at the end of the year T. R is equal to internal rate of return, that is IRR, and N is equal to the life of the project. Now, while calculating NPV, we assume that the discount rate, also known as cost of capital, is known and then determine the NPV, whereas in the calculation of IRR, we set the NPV equal to 0 and determine the discount rate that satisfies this condition. Now, what are the advantages of internal rate of return? The first one, IRR, considers the time value of money. Second one, IRR helps in selecting those proposals which are expected to earn more than the minimum required rate of return. The third advantage is IRR is based on cash flows rather than the accounting profit. Now, we will have a look at the disadvantages of internal rate of return. The first one is it involves tedious calculations based on trial and error method. The second limitation is it provides multiple rates which can be confusing. The third one is the selected projects which are based on higher IRR may not be profitable. Now, we will see what is the decision rule for IRR. The decision rule for IRR is accept the project if the IRR is greater than the cost of capital. Reject the project if IRR is less than the cost of capital. The next technique we will discuss is profitability index. This technique is a variant of the NPV technique. Profitability index is based upon the concept of discounting the future cash flows and is determined by comparing the present value of the future cash flows with the present value of the future cash outflows. It is calculated with the help of the following formula. PI is equal to total present value of cash inflows divided by the total present value of cash outflows. Now, the decision rule under PI technique of capital budgeting evaluation is to accept the project if its PI is more than 1 and reject the proposal if PI is less than 1. If PI is equal to 1, then the firm may be indifferent. Now, we will see one illustration where we will calculate all the methods of the evaluation starting from the ARR to the profitability index. Now, the question is, a company is considering an investment proposal to install a new machinery at a cost of rupees 50,000. The machinery has an expected life of 5 years and no salvage value. The tax rate is 35%. The firm is using a straight line method of depreciation. The estimated cash flows before depreciation and tax, that is CFBT, from the investment proposal are the number of years and then the CFBT. Years starting from 1 to 5. For first year, the cash flows before depreciation and tax is rupees 10,000. For the second year, it is rupees 10,692. For the third year, it is rupees 12,769. For the fourth year, it is rupees 13,462. For the fifth year, it is rupees 20,385. Now, we'll have to calculate the average rate of return, number 1, number 2, payback period, number 3, net present value at 10% discount rate, number 4, internal rate of return, and the last one that we are supposed to calculate is the profitability index at 10% discount rate. Now, we'll see the solution to this problem. In this solution, we will first calculate the cash flows after taxes, that is CFAT. Second one is payback period. For calculating payback period, we can see that the recovery of the investment falls between the 4th and the 5th years. Therefore, the payback is 4 years plus a fraction of the 5th year. The fractional value is equal to rupees 5,500 divided by rupees 16,750, which comes out to be 0.328. Thus, the payback period is 4.328 years. The next is net present value. Now, for calculating NPV, we will have to find out the PV factor at 10% discount rate. Thus, the PV factor are Now, the next is internal rate of return. For calculating internal rate of return, the fake payback period is to be calculated first. The fake payback period is equal to 4.0816, that is rupees 50,000 divided by rupees 12,250. Now, from the table of present value of 1 rupee, we can find out the PV factor. The value closest to the fake payback period of 4.0816 against 5 years is 4.100 against 7%. Now, since the actual cash flow stream in the initial years is little less than the average cash flow stream, the IRR is likely to be lower than 7%. So, we will try with both 6% and 7%. IRR is between 6 and 7%. By interpolation, we can find that IRR is equal to 6.6%. The next is profitability index. The formula for calculating profitability index is equal to PV of cash inflows divided by PV of cash outflows, which is equal to rupees 45,352 divided by rupees 50,000, which is equal to 0.907. Now, we will see the difference between NPV and IRR. The first difference is NPV gives clear-cut accept reject decision rule, while IRR may give multiple results. Second one is NPV gives better ranking as compared to IRR. The next is NPV gives absolute return, while IRR gives percentage return. The next is the availability of required rate of return is must for NPV, while it is a prerequisite for IRR. Now we will see what we have discussed in this episode. In this episode, we have discussed the capital budgeting decision, which involves the entire process of decision making relating to acquisition of long-term assets whose returns are expected to arise over a long period of time. We have also discussed different techniques of evaluating capital budgeting. These techniques are grouped into…
Yes. Which one is considered to be the best technique above all?
There is no best technique. Depending upon the riskiness of the project, we tend to calculate the type of the technique. For one particular proposal, payback is suitable, for the other NPV. But usually these days, as we say that the NPV, IRR and profitability index, they takes into consideration the time value of money. So they are considered to be more realistic and practical. So these are the techniques which are these days which are followed. And as with regards to ARR and payback, they do not take into consideration the time value of money. So that's the limitation. So usually these days the modern techniques, the time value techniques are being followed. Okay. Lastly, we have discussed the techniques of the capital budgeting, and these techniques are grouped into two. One is the traditional techniques, which is known as the non-discounting techniques, and the second one is the time adjusted techniques, also known as the discounted cash flows. As we have discussed, traditional techniques do not discount the cash flows to find out their present worth. The following are the traditional techniques: accounting rate of return and payback period. The discounted cash flow techniques used to evaluate capital budgeting proposals are three. One is net present value, next is your internal rate of return, and the third one is your profitability index. We have done one illustration also on this different techniques. I hope the topic is clear to you.
Yes,
whatever the techniques we have discussed in the topic, I hope it is clear to both of you. We'll discuss another topic in the another class. Till then, goodbye. Thank you.